Hi folks, and welcome back to the allotment. Maybe you saw yesterday's video already where I've repaired the tunnel. Looks as good as new, doesn't it? You can't even tell that there was any damage. I'm joking, of course. It doesn't look amazing, but hopefully it's functional. Every now and then I like to do a slightly more professional video where I'm not constantly laughing at myself, because they're more likely to find a wider audience. And I do feel like sometimes I can help people with videos like that. There weren't actually that many on, you know, simple single skin polytunnel repairs that I could see. Not ones like this anyway. So yeah, I've got a bit of time now. One of those days where no to-do list, we're just going to potter around and see what we get up to. One thing I do need to do is just a bit more kind of setting out the beds, getting them properly into their final position, maybe digging out the ground slightly. This one is, yeah, that's not exactly level, that one. I've just kind of got them made up, and you know, I was worried about the details later, so maybe I will do that. I have brought up some seeds as well, so I might do a little bit of sowing. One question I've had is, you know, how am I actually going to fill these? And to be honest, I'm pretty chill about this. I'm not planning on getting these filled all the way to the top, you know, in one season. This is just like it's like a stencil, you know, that I'm allowed to kind of fill in over time, and I'm going to gradually improve this with manure. I do have a load of manure at the back there, that compost centre manure. I've got some fresh horse manure as well. I might get some of that on the beds today. Oh, that'll be a really nice job actually. Yeah, maybe getting some of these weeded and getting them start to build up that manure and that kind of stuff. I have given these a good top dressing of manure last season, so hopefully when it does come time to grow in here next season, it's going to be a bit better than last, you know, because it will have had more time to work through. I just love being up here, having a week off work. Oh, video every day. That is living the dream, man. One other thing as well, there is more timber along the way somewhere. I don't know where it is. It was meant to arrive yesterday, but the slightly smaller timbers for plot number 1 might arrive in 10 minutes or 10 hours. I'm not quite sure. I've got a few spare scaffolding boards as well, which are definitely going to come in handy. I know that for a fact. These were intended to be in the tunnel, but I'm not sure that they're necessary, really. So yeah, this smaller wood, we'll see. It's roughly similar to these decking boards, and I'm just going to slap up some raised beds. A lot less technical, a lot less kind of work is going to be needed on them, but that's just going to section off these beds. And this is the first time I've had a little walk around on here actually, since I gave this a good weed, and since my dad's been weeding, coming along with his trimmer and giving the edges a good tickle as well. There is all this to go away as well, and I think building a little bed here will be really nice. The idea of those little beds is they're going to act slightly as raised beds. I'm not going to treat them or any of that kind of stuff. They're mostly just going to be so that I know where the beds start, make it so much easier for weeding and strimming. I think let's do the beds. Let's keep the momentum going with the raised beds. I've just built them. I've got all this horse manure to go down. Let's give them a bit of work. It's properly cold today as well, so it's good to do some physical work. I think it'll get the blood going, get me moving. And one thing there's lots of little reasons I'm so happy about these raised beds. I realised in that raised bed video, I said I was happy about 100 times. But one thing is, just like my plots aren't level. All of the paths are really bumpy, and you're kind of walking around, and if you're carrying heavy stuff, it's always just a bit awkward. You know, I'm pretty steady on my feet. It's not like I'm elderly and worried about falling over or anything. It's just kind of unpleasant. So down here, the raised beds just will allow me to do stuff like this. So the easiest way to deal with really unlevel ground, because it goes really low where that raised bed is, really high up here. You just can never really see it on video. You know, I can just chuck down a load of wood chip, and now this is actually level, and I don't feel like I might break my neck at any moment. It's just so great. So yeah, let's get these into final position, get them weeded, get them looking a bit nicer, get these filled up, and get some manure on, shall we? So you've seen me putting out the wood chip. We are very lucky to get free wood chip on this site. And yeah, a few other points. So one thing a lot of people mentioned, and something I had already been conscious of, is making sure the raised beds are spaced far apart that you can comfortably and easily get in them. Now, Steve Steve Greenside Up spoke about this a lot, and he kind of recommended that when you're setting them out and when you're planning, you go ahead and you try and kneel between them. And these are 1.3 wide, just because the boards were 3.9, so it made sense to use them. I didn't want that little bit of wastage just cutting these to 1.2, which is what they were kind of when I did the plan originally and to fit this area. So they are a little bit bigger, but I am always wearing knee pads. You'll notice, always wearing these because I've got slightly dodgy knees, especially for someone my age. I don't know what it is, but if I don't have these and a kneeler, I'm in a world of pain for quite a while. So this is going to be really comfortable for me. I can kneel between these, I can rest on this raised bed and nice and easily get to the middle on one side and get to the middle on the other. The other thing that I've been looking at is the level of the beds. Now, I've not been too concerned about these. I just want it to be roughly level, and these are roughly level to the eye. I just got the spirit level out, and they do trend backwards a little bit. And the only reason that I'm concerned about the level really is when you start to build this up, you don't want, when you water it, all of the material to be carried down to one end of the bed, and you kind of get maybe a wet end and a dry end. You want it to be nice and consistent. So just got to raise these two up a little bit at the back. That one is pretty much bang on perfect. Yeah, bang on. So they're all good at the back. Oh, the other thing, I knew there was something else. The supports on the lengths. Now, I knew that I would get comments about this, so I put a little bit of text on the screen in the raised bed episode. But if you missed that, do not fret. I am going to support these lengths. Even when you've got, nice sturdy brackets, I mean, the brackets are okay. If you've got loads of material in here, especially when you've watered it and it's wet, it's going to push out on these lengths, these longer pieces. If you've got a kind of square bed or it's a bit smaller, you don't need to worry about it so much. But when you've got one long piece of timber, it's going to start to bulge and bow outwards over time. So my good friend Elmo, a few plots over, has said he's got a load of uni strut that he's going to cut to size for me, which is very, very kind of him. So I can then just tap that in to the soil, screw that into the bed, and it will just support these long bits. I especially need to do that on the beast of the bed behind you. These ones are 3.9 meters long. That's a full 13-foot board. So that is not going to have the rigidity from these brackets that it needs. So the longer the bit of wood, the more support it's going to need. So that'll be kind of the very last step of getting these raised beds in, really. For now, I just need to do a little bit more squaring off and leveling, getting them into the right position and topping up these little wood chip paths in the middle. Oh, it's gonna look so good. I love it. I love it. Look at this. When you see something and you look at those clouds, look at the sky, it's another gorgeous day. When you see something and you think that is far too good to be true, but I'm going to take a punt on it anyway. Well, that's exactly what I did with that timber that you just saw me unloading, and oh my god, it looks really, really good. I think I got quite lucky with this stuff. Let me show you. So this stuff is from eDecks, which is like an online decking store. And they sell these reject boards, which aren't quite good, that they don't make the cut. They're a little bit wavy, or there's a few imperfections. And I'm almost wondering if he's given me the wrong ones, because these look absolutely fine and they are chunky. The measurement is 25 mil by 100. Oh my god, I think he's actually given me the wrong ones. Let me count them. Okay, no, panic over. There's 16. It just looks like a lot, but then again, the scaffolding boards look like an awful lot when they arrive too. But I'm really pleased. This is way, way, way better than I was expecting. And I just think these are going to be perfect for raised beds. That's still pretty chunky. It's pressure treated, so I'm not going to faff around too much like I did with the scaffolding boards, with lining or treating or any of that kind of stuff. I suppose I could give them a coat of treatment, but when you've got something that's pressure treated already, that kind of clear coat that I was using doesn't absorb in very well, and half of it just ends up in the ground, which you don't really want. But I'm over the moon again. I can't believe it. It's like another video where I'm overly happy. I'm way too happy about some wood. Did you like the last thumbnail as well? Audrey said in the live stream that my thumbnails were getting a bit provocative. So I thought, you know what, let's lean into it. But I have been busy on the beds too. My camera just had a hard crash, a full-on, fully locked up. And I had to take the battery out to get it to restart. And it's been doing that a few times recently. So I'm a little bit worried about my little Canon M50. It might be on the way out. Cameras are very expensive. So if you want to support the Patreon, if you do want to become a patron, I'm half joking. I do actually need as many patrons as I can get. Quite a few people have left recently. I think that's just because times are hard, and I completely understand that. So if you have been thinking about whether or not to join the Patreon, we have a little Patreon chat, which is sort of like a mini chat room type thing, and I share lots of progress as I'm working on things. And people, you can give me, if you like giving me advice, you can give me real-time advice in the Patreon chat if you're interested. Links all down below. But I've got all these beds ready now as well. They're leveled up quite nicely. They are at different levels, so you can see, well, you probably can't see, but the ground does drop as we go down. You know, it drops quite a lot. So this raised bed is going to be a bit higher than that, but maybe I'll try and raise that back one up a little bit. I don't know, but they are all square, they're all level. That's the main thing. And I've started, look at this little wood chip path, and that one is going to run through and down here, and we're going to have a little bed on the side here. In fact, that is what some of this timber is for. So it's just going to be kind of cute little bed, you know, really just kind of maybe 50 mil back, and I'll grow kind of shallow crops in here, you know, something that's not going to block out the light for the tunnel. Little salads, maybe some strawberries. I was chatting to one of my allotment neighbours, and he was like, don't plant strawberries, they're like weeds. Don't grow fruit, grow vegetables. Don't grow flowers. It's quite funny, Mike. But we'll see what we do in here. But I think it'll look really nice. And it's sort of to prevent really me needing to strim up against the polytunneling and accidentally catching the tunnel, because the last thing this needs is even more scratches. I think that's me just about done. I did maybe go a little bit ambitious at the start of this one when I said, oh, I can plant loads of new stuff and do loads, but it's nice to have an ongoing to-do list in my head. I've just been focused on these raised beds now. Oh, they look so good, don't they? Thank you ever so much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed this one. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper tier patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Andrew. Absolute stars. Hopefully I'll see you again next time.